ECU coming away with a loss this week. The Cougars used an 11-1 run in the third quarter to pull away in that one. In Cincinnati, you mentioned it was a close game, Matt. It was tied at halftime and at the end of the third quarter. But the Bulls went on a 13-4 run in the fourth quarter to come away with the win. So Cincinnati trying to get back in the win column for the first time since beating Tulsa in this building a couple of weeks ago. There's Jillian Hayes. Finds Jada Scott. Goes to work, kicks it out to Levy. 8 on the shot clock for the Bearcats. Wilson steps in for a 3, and too strong. Hayes collects it, no shot clock reset. She fires it up and off the mark. Dive for the ball, and Cincinnati has it, but the possession arrow favors ECU. A bit of a scrambled start there for Cincinnati. ECU getting possession with Thompson, Johnson, Green, Adams, and Bennett, the starting 5 for Kim McNeil.
This is an ECU lineup that has really been putting it together the last few weeks. You mentioned, Anthony, before they lost to Houston, had put a 2-game winning streak together. You combine that with the play of Thompson, and the Pirates starting to look like a dangerous team late in the season.
Here is Thompson, pulls up, and a bit too strong, so some early jitters for both of these teams. Cincinnati rolls with the starting 5 of Wilson, Levy, Scott, Hayes, and Scott. A little bit different for Cincinnati with Jada and Jaden in the starting lineup, but Michelle Clark-Hurd is known for using a lot of pieces in some different starting lineups. Wilson left alone after breaking the press, but she's too strong again. Tries to collect her miss, and she does, and fouled in the process.
Now mark that one down for Cincinnati. If you're able to break the press and get a wide open 3 for Caitlin Wilson, it didn't work out there, but more often than not, that's exactly what they want to see.
A tough start so far for Wilson, missing her first couple of shots, but she has been money over her last 12 games. Nearly 40% from 3 over her last 12 games. Try to force a pass inside to Hayes, and it's taken away by Deja Green. And a loose ball gives it right back to Cincinnati. They'll hold the possession.
And this is an ECU defense that has been prolific both this season and last on the defensive side. One of the top teams in the nation in steals, points per game allowed in many cases as well. It's tough to score against the Pirates, and Cincinnati has shown in these first couple possessions they're probably going to have to work that shot clock to finally work out a quality shot.
ECU third in the conference in opposing points per game. Levy with a tough shot deflected out of bounds. And they have some shot blockers inside, too. It's not just steals with this ECU team, though. That's where they get a lot of their credit. Michelle Clark-Hurd looking to avenge the loss against ECU from earlier this season in January. Cincinnati has to get a shot off. Levy gets it away, but too strong again. But another offensive rebound for Cincinnati. They've been rebounding better over their last handful of games.
And that's certainly a key for Cincinnati. If you're going to be taking a lot of threes, they're not all going to go down, but if you can chase down some offensive rebounds, that really ups your potential.
Another deep shot clock for the Bearcats. To the corner with Jada Scott. Forced to pass down low again to her sister, and it's deflected away by Bennett. In transition, Johnson is fouled, and she earns a couple at the line.
Well, that's what ECU wants to do, play tough defense, get down in transition. Didn't get the basket there, but a chance to go to the line.
Sania Johnson headed to the free throw line. Michelle Clark-Hurd also hangs her hat on the defensive end. She always talks about it. Defense, the press, and rebounding. Really the 3 key constants for Michelle Clark-Hurd. Hasn't necessarily showed up as well as she maybe would have liked this season. But there's the offense that couldn't get anything going.
And even in that case, it was really just the fourth quarter when the offense kind of hit that brick wall at the end. But they have been playing some great defense here as of late. And as you said, that really has been a building block for Michelle Clark-Hurd ever since she came into Cincinnati.
Hayes fakes it, takes it inside, and she's stuffed by Bennett. Green goes the other way and lays it in. That started with the block by Bennett. She is one of the best in the conference.
Well, we've seen it the last 2 possessions. Defense leading to offense for ECU, whether it's running that shot clock all the way down or getting that shot block. That's how they get a lot of their points.
Tyler Bennett, the transfer from Clemson, second all-time in Tigers history in blocks. Green has another steal, and she kicks it out to Thompson. A hard drive inside, and she's tied up and a foul called.
There's Another case of this ECU defense. They jump into passing lanes, they force steals, and that's the philosophy Kim McNeil has brought to Greenville. They might not have the wins to show for it quite this year, but you can really feel that culture starting to pick up for the Pirates.
Kim McNeil, the former head coach at Hartford. She is ranked in the top 5 in the country in steals per game each of the last 3 seasons, her first 2 at ECU and her final year at Hartford.
You play for Kim McNeil, you are going to defend hard. You're going to go for steals and get them.
Braylon Milton is into the game for Cincinnati, and she lays it in. So the Bearcats finally on the board. It took them nearly 3 minutes.
The play of Milton has really been one of the highlights of Cincinnati this year, as she has really come into her own, whether coming off the bench. She's had a chance to start some games, shooting the ball really well, and really does not play like a freshman anymore.
Those are Milton's first points, however, in 4 games. She had been held scoreless over her last 4. Tie-up inside, Milton working her way in there defensively for the tie-up. Milton has certainly shown some great encouraging signs this season. 19 points against Ole Miss, 18 against Chattanooga. She's been quiet over the last couple of games, but gets Cincinnati on the board here. Green a long 3 is way off, and a shot clock violation, never hit the rim.
There's another deep shot clock. How many times have we heard that shot clock buzzer go off in just the first few minutes of this one? Again, both teams really pride themselves in locking in on the defensive end and playing defense for 30 seconds.
Cincinnati makes more substitutions. Malaya Williams into the game for the Bearcats. Jaden Scott puts it on the floor. Turnaround in the lane is too strong. And Thompson skies for the rebound. Stops on a dime at the free throw line. Just doesn't get the bounce, and Jaden Scott is there for the rebound.
That's the look you want from Thompson. That's her shot.
Levy one-hands it to the corner. Wilson for 3. Another rebound for ECU. Thompson pushes forward. Adams fills the lane and lays it in. Isis Adams, a freshman for ECU. Kim McNeil said that it took her a little while to get acclimated to the college game, but she's very patient, and she's starting to figure it out as a college player. Williams rims out, but Milton has the offensive rebound.
Hey, if you leave Williams open for enough of those shots, she's going to make more of them than she misses. Great stretch 4-5 for the Cincinnati interior.
Williams gets it right back. And ECU again getting hands in the passing lane. A nice extra pass to Jaden Scott, and right before the buzzer, she lays it in.
Great cool head under pressure there from Cincinnati, as Wilson knew that shot clock was ticking down, didn't panic, was able to find Scott for the quick pass and quick basket.
Quite a frantic pace here so far in this game. Both teams getting up and down the floor, and Isis Adams lays in another bucket.
I think every point from ECU so far has been in transition before Cincinnati has been able to get back to set its defense.
They're having no trouble with the Bearcats' pressure in the backcourt. Levy cuts inside, a scoop shot, can't kiss it in. Bennett has a rebound. Asia Green, head of steam again, but throws it over Adams out of bounds.
I think you do see right there that that's going to be an emphasis for both teams, trying to not let the opposition get in, and they will play it tough for 30 seconds. We've seen that shot clock run out all the way to the buzzer a number of times for both of these teams so far. And that really brings the transition game into play. We noted how all 7 of ECU's points have come in transition. You don't want to let either of these teams have that time to set their defense.
ECU already with 2 steals in this game and 2 blocks as well. Really a master on the defensive end. And that's going to be something Cincinnati has to deal with all game long. Levy again tries to go inside, but she has her pass deflected. Wilson with a hand in her face is too strong. Williams, another offensive rebound. So give ECU credit for the steals and the blocks, but rebounding has been an issue so far.
And that's going to be an emphasis for Cincinnati. If you're going to have a tough time getting quality shots with this defense, maybe get some offensive putbacks.
Yang a bit too aggressive on the offensive end, called for the foul.
And that's part of what this ECU defense does. They're so aggressive. You're always thinking about where that steal attempt interception might come next, that sometimes it kind of lulls you into making your own mistakes.
one of the few half-court sets we've seen out of ECU early in this game. They've gotten pretty much all of their production in transition so far. Sania Johnson tries to get it inside to Mosley, but it's off a thigh and out of bounds. Sania Johnson missed a couple of games, just returned recently, and Kim McNeil said they really missed her, especially on the defensive end. We've talked a lot about defense, but Johnson is a player that loves to play D, and they said it was hard for ECU to pressure as much as they'd like because they were down an additional guard.
There's that shot clock buzzer going off again. Both teams really locking in that half-court defense when they have a chance to get set.
Shot came from Alexia Rose, and another shot clock violation forced by Cincinnati. They break the ECU pressure, and they can start in the half court. Inside and out of the hands of Malaya Williams, another steal for ECU. They forced 31 Cincinnati turnovers when these two teams first played in January. The pull-up from Green is off the mark, tipped around, Hayes had it, saved under the basket, out to Bennett for ECU.
Big save by Johnson there.
A fresh 24th, the Pirates. Adams kicks it out. Three ball from Mosley, and she's fouled.
Well, that's one way to break a 2-minute scoring drought.
Morgan Mosley is going to the line for a 4-point play chance. Morgan Mosley is described by Kim McNeil as a glue player. Just does a little bit of everything that doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but those 3 points will. She misses the free throw. Keep it at a 10-4 ECU lead.
Good rebound by Hayes there, and another turnover forced by ECU at half court.
Cincinnati really struggling with those hands for ECU, but Thompson struggling on the offensive end for the Pirates. She's now 0 for 5 and without a point. ECU getting the steals, but Thompson having trouble capitalizing.
Yeah, and that's been a key for them the last several games, that 2-game win streak. They lost against Houston, but Thompson had a big game there as well. You know, you get the steals, get out in transition, get her some points. That's turnover number 6 from Cincinnati.
Green with this one, Hayes with the block. 6th in the conference in blocks per game, and doing a little bit of work defensively herself.
Well, good hustle by Jillian Hayes, getting back on the defensive end. And that's been a key for Cincinnati. You know ECU's going to push that transition game. You got to get back and defend, and that's what Jillian Hayes did right there.
Inside to Bennett off the inbounds and shoots over Williams for 2. ECU is all over the place right now, in a good way.
Yeah, you just think of that kind of chaotic nature, that havoc that they create on defense. It throws you off of your game on the offensive end. You really can't ever get that comfortability of the half-court set.
Inside to Williams, fakes it one way, shoots the other.
What a nice move that was by Malaya Williams.
And Levy turns on the pressure after the make and forces a travel.
But we talked about the pressure that both of these teams put on you. Not only is that going to force turnovers from the steals, but mentally it forces you into those unforced errors yourself, and we've seen that for both teams.
Inside to Clarissa Craig, and she's bumped. A chance for 2 at the line for the freshman Clarissa Craig.
And Craig has really been coming on strong lately for Cincinnati as well, earning more minutes. As that foul actually whistled on her as they reverse it, but Craig, a player who's really starting to factor into the Cincinnati rotation more and more in her freshman year.
Well, it's an offensive foul against Craig, the 2nd offensive foul at that end for the Bearcats. Mosley is fouled on the loft pass. Well, the foul's starting to rack up a little bit for Cincinnati. And Mosley's going to be shooting a couple free throws here as the Bearcats are over the limit.
Pirates in the bonus. If there's a piece of good news for Cincinnati, no player has more than 1 foul, so they've been spread evenly. ECU doing a good job drawing those fouls here in this first quarter.
Morgan Mosley was scoreless in the last game against Houston. She already has 3 today. And has missed her first 2 free throws. Comes from a very athletic family. Her sister plays lacrosse at Delaware State. Her brother played football at Virginia and now in the Canadian Football League. And her mother was an all-track runner at Virginia. Hayes with 15 to shoot. Levy picks up her dribble, finds Milton in the corner. Steps inside the arc and leaves it short. ECU wants to run, they've been doing it all day. Thompson leaks out in transition, but another block from Jillian Hayes.
That's the second time we've seen that today from Jillian Hayes. What a great job from her running the floor, getting back on defense, not taking any possession off. And if you're going to try to get out of transition, you're going to have to contend with Jillian Hayes because she's going to be back to defend you.
Another block for ECU, but Cincinnati just returned the favor. Thompson for three. She cannot get anything going. Battle for it, and ECU basketball again.
Both teams having trouble beyond the three-point arc, a combined 1 for 9 between both of them.
Thompson is 0 for 7 from the floor. Rose is off the mark. ECU tries to track it down in the corner, they do. Thompson tries to get on the board, and she finally does.
Now, you know you couldn't keep Thompson down for long. It takes her 8th shot attempt to finally find the bottom of the net. That might get her going.
Another turnover for Cincinnati, and we get our first beverage spill of the game as well.
Got to keep that head up.
Yeah.
Head up and lid on.
You know, all those passes that have gone out of bounds this season, and a little bit of a beverage incident there. You hate to see that. I believe that's why we have a little stoppage here as well to get that cleaned up.
Now, the way both of these teams play, you gotta, if you're sitting in that front row, be aware at all times because there's deflections coming left and right.
That person there in the vest, I think, had their beverage spilled. Came to the game today looking for a fun afternoon out, and they get to go home with some wet clothing.
All the fun you can handle.
Bennett tries to back her way down on Craig. Outside to Mosley again. She's been a focal point here over the last few offensive trips for the Pirates. Johnson is fouled on her way up.
Well, that's what ECU wants to do. They want to attack, drive to the bucket, draw fouls if they can. You know, both of these teams are at their best defending when they're forcing the opposition out onto the perimeter and running clock.
Johnson makes the first free throw. Mentioned she missed a handful of games earlier this season. But she has been a menace on the defensive end since returning. 16 steals over her last 4 games, including a career-high 7 against Houston last time out. As a team, ECU with 5 steals and 3 blocks today. Bearcats try to break the pressure, and they cannot. Off of Milton's foot, out of bounds, and ECU will get a shot off with 6.2 to go.
And there's just another example. Even when ECU is enforcing the deflection, you're worried about where that next cut's going to come, where that next interception attempt's going to come from, and you don't always handle it cleanly.
Rose, last second shot, defers to Thompson, lays it in. And ECU will take a 12-point lead going to the second quarter. In turnovers forced, Cincinnati right now has 9 turnovers in just the first quarter.
That has propelled ECU on a 13-2 run, but no surprise from any Kim McNeil coach team you mentioned, not only here at ECU, but back during her time at Hartford. So many statistics in the top 5 nationally when it comes to defense, and that's what ECU wants to do.
Well, the Bearcats beat UCF for the Knights' only conference loss this season, but they've had a lot of highs and lows so far this season, a pair of 4-game losing streaks in conference play. They're trying to break one right now. But in a battle against a tough ECU team that already beat Cincinnati once this season. Levy left open for 3, and her first shot of the second quarter is off the mark.
Cincinnati ended the first quarter on a drought of only scoring 2 points in the final 5 minutes, and looks like it's continued on here into the second.
ECU with a 13-2 run to close out the second quarter. First quarter, I beg your pardon. Johnson thought about shooting, steps inside the arc, and knocks it down.
Now Johnson has really been the linchpin for ECU, both on the defensive side at the top of that zone. Good job navigating it by the Bearcats here, though.
Missed assignment here with Jada Scott finding herself open under the basket. That breaks the scoring drought for Cincinnati.
Well, you have to believe once Cincinnati kind of finds that rhythm, finds that comfort in navigating through that ECU zone press, that's when this offense is going to start firing along.
Well, slow starts have been plaguing Cincinnati all season long, scoring just 6 points in this first quarter today. Thompson from the corner, too strong, but tracks her miss. Goes to work inside, tied up, and a jump ball called. ECU possession arrow.
Now that just shows the motor of Tania Thompson. She knew it wasn't going in, off of her hands, tracked down that rebound, followed that shot in, battled hard, was able to get that jump ball, and that's why she's been such a great player, not only this season, but particularly the last 2 weeks.
Thompson has started all games over the last handful of seasons, the only Pirate to do so. Johnson with another 3.
And with Thompson a little bit slow out of the gate on the scoring side, Johnson has been the one really carrying that load.
She has 8 for the Pirates. Tie up in the corner between Bennett and Craig, and they exchange a couple of words. Some extracurriculars after the play there. The officials have to step in.
Fortunately, cooler heads prevail on both sides. And with the intensity that both of these teams play on defense, not a surprise that you might see that intensity kind of carry over after a whistle here and there.
Both teams will head over to the benches. That's a 5th-year player against. She's been called for an intentional foul, so bad to worse for Cincinnati, with ECU getting 2 free throws and possession of the basketball, and the only knock against them is a regular foul against Tyler Bennett.
Well, you mentioned on one side a 5th-year senior, on the other side a freshman, and that might just be a piece of experience for Clarissa Craig. Maybe not an intentional intent, on that foul from her, but anytime you got an elbow coming up high above the shoulders, the official's going to tend to, err on the side of whistling that as an intentional foul, that, to dissuade any of that from happening in the future.
And Thompson, a 76% free throw shooter, makes both of them. So it's a 16-point ECU lead, a pair of free throws, and they get possession after the intentional from Craig.
And that foul on Bennett did count in the ECU team total, so they have 1 team foul.
Levy tracks down the Thompson miss, and Johnson giving her no space to break it across half court. And Cincinnati needs to get going offensively. Hayes steps inside the paint and swishes it.
And that's exactly what Cincinnati wants to see. Get Jillian Hayes heated up from that mid-range spot. That's right where she likes to take it. And they can get this offense going if Hayes starts finding her shot there.
Bearcats into double figures. Mosley has it knocked out of her hands, and it'll stay at this end, 13 to shoot.
Well, so many deflections from both of these teams, whether it's resulted in a turnover or not. We talked about how aggressive and intense they both play on the defensive end, and we've certainly seen that in this first half.
Green, nice pass inside, but a whistle first, a lane violation against Bennett.
Yeah, just camped out there a little too long. She knew it right when the whistle sounded.
There's that pressure from ECU again. Cincinnati does better. Again, wide open under the basket. One of the Scots. This time it's Jaden, and she's fouled for a 3-point play chance.
Great move there by Jaden Scott. First the pump fake to get the initial defense by, and then powering through the foul. And again, this is on that chaotic transition setting. Jaden Scott has really been coming on strong here in conference play for Cincinnati. Both she and her sister Jada Scott have been some of the players that the Bearcats have really seen step up here the last few weeks.
Well, one of the Scots just seems to find themselves open on that block, breaking that ECU pressure. It was Jada Scott earlier. She got an easy layup, and this time her sister Jaden lays it in and hits the free throw, so Cincinnati back within 12.
Both teams still looking for some rhythm on the offensive end here. We've seen so many shot clocks go all the way down to the end, and hear the buzzer sound.
Mosley, baseline drive out to Green for 3, and she buries it.
Third three-pointer of the game for ECU as Green has her second.
Levy trapped, finds Jada Scott, now to her sister Jaden.
Cincinnati still without a three-point field goal. They're 0 for 6 from deep.
Bearcats have done a better job of handling the ECU pressure in the second quarter, still without a turnover here in the second. And a lane violation against Cincinnati. This time Jada Scott.
I think you jinxed him, Anthony.
It
Just
happens.
seconds later. But again, that's just what you have to contend with going against this ECU defense, going against this Cincinnati defense. You're going to be pressured from basket to basket.
Jaden Scott goes down in the lane. Doesn't come back to bite Cincinnati.
Good job by the Bearcats adjusting there and keeping everybody covered.
Green with a quick first step, rises over Levy. Tipped out of bounds and back Cincinnati's way.
Well, if you're Cincinnati and you find yourself in this 15-point deficit, you're going to get back in this game through defense. You just got to take it one possession at a time. You got to lock down, play 30 seconds of defense, as we've seen several times today, and then take care of the basketball and not turn it over, and your shots will come.
Wilson fouled and the three.
Now you knew it was a matter of time until Caitlin Wilson started finding her shot. That's the second time today we've seen a three-pointer and a foul. ECU had one earlier. Caitlin Wilson adds one of her own, and that's what the Bearcats are looking for to get back into this one.
Foul goes on Green. She can't believe it. Wilson started 0 for 4 from the field and finally gets going. Well, Wilson mentioned it earlier, shooting nearly 40% from three-point range over her last 12 games, but she hasn't scored in double figures over the last 3 games. She has her first 4 points this afternoon.
It really feels like once the Bearcats got to conference play, that switch flipped for Caitlin Wilson, and all of her shots started going down from outside.
Wide open down low, Chambers lays it in.
Now Chambers making an impact coming in, getting her first points of the game.
Cincinnati speeds up the pace a little bit, and Levy fouled cutting through the lane. Bearcats doing a much better job of breaking that ECU pressure in this second quarter.
Well, when you know that pressure is going to come, if you're able to hang on to that basketball and take care of it, sometimes you can draw some fouls, and that's something the Bearcats have been doing a little bit better job of here in quarter number 2.
4 team fouls on ECU, the next foul, and Cincinnati shooting free throws the rest of this quarter. Wilson for 3. Wrong person to leave open.
She's heating up. 2 in a row, and that's often what we see from Caitlin Wilson. Once she sees that first three-pointer go through, that confidence comes up, she finds her rhythm, and that could be a good sign for Cincinnati as they try to battle their way back in this one.
A whistle and a timeout by Kim McNeil. Wilson, a former junior college transfer from Chipola Junior College. Led the conference in three-point makes last season. Took her until conference play to really find her groove, but heating up at the right time for the Bearcats. Now the Cincinnati taking a page out of the ECU playbook with a couple of steals here.
Great read by Romney Yang. She covered a lot of distance to intercept that one.
Wilson a 2. Hayes with the offensive rebound. Inside to Niang, she turns, frees herself, and fouled on her drive.
Cincinnati doing a good job working it in to a Romney Yang, able to post up and get her shot, drawing that foul. That seems to really be a key for Cincinnati in this second quarter, as that is foul number 6 on ECU. Kind of using that aggressiveness against the Pirates.
You mentioned it, Matt. Sometimes you're a bit too aggressive. You can force your own mistakes. Side effect, you can foul a bit too much. ECU did a great job of that in the first half, but it seems like, first quarter I should say, but it seems like Cincinnati has done a better job with the pressure. They forced ECU into making some of their own mistakes.
ECU did a great job just coming out, punching the gas, from the opening tip-off. Kind of had Cincinnati a little off-kilter, off-balance, forcing a lot of early turnovers, but now it feels like the Bearcats have kind of settled in. They know what to expect from that ECU pressure. That's how they've been able to battle their way back into this one.
Out of the reach of Thompson and out of bounds, but off a Bearcat. If you're a Cincinnati fan, you just hope that that early deficit wasn't too much to overcome. How many times have we seen that this season where the Bearcats second, third, and fourth quarter might outscore the opponent, but they just fell behind so much in that first quarter?
It feels like for Cincinnati, it's often one quarter that kind of goes awry. And as you said, oftentimes they might outscore the opposition the other three.
Yang travels. A couple of back and forth possessions here. Cincinnati 5 of its last 6 from the floor. Thompson lone in the corner. Yes. Much needed bucket there for ECU.
That three-point shooting has been there for the Pirates after starting the game cold. They're now 4 for 9 after missing their first several.
It was a dismal start for Thompson. She was 0 for 7. But she's made half of her shots since. Big swat inside by Chambers. Out of bounds, stays with Cincinnati.
You got 4 three-pointers made from 4 different Pirates, and now Thompson starting to heat up. There's that defense again. We talked about it. It's not just the full court pressure. It's not just forcing the steals. A lot of inside presence from this ECU interior.
Chambers with about a block a game. She finished top 10 in the conference in blocks last season. Johnson gets her hand in the passing lane. Milton tries to break it up. She can't. Thompson follows and lays it in.
And there's that motor of Thompson running in transition. Even though it looked like a clear path to the basket, she was there for the follow.
Wilson catch and shoot 3. Good rush there for Cincinnati. Foul called on the rebound. Goes against Aram Niang and against Alexia Rose.
It's going to be number 2 on Niang here in the first half, and that might force her to take a seat on the bench. It will.
Somebody lost a scrunchie or something at the free throw line. That's now picked up. Back ready to go.
Now with Niang on the bench, Cincinnati going to have to go with a little bit smaller lineup out there. Marina Mashar coming in for the first time in this game.
Bearcats started with Niang on the bench. Tie up under the basket. And back to Cincinnati. .2:30 to go, second quarter. Levy has been quiet in this game for the Bearcats, still without a point. Another whistle against the Bearcats.
It's another 3-second call. This one going against Jaden Scott. We've seen that from both teams several times today.
Now 1 for each of the Scots for Cincinnati. .13 ECU lead. Bearcats had it to within 8 just a few moments ago.
Well, ECU has been able to stem the tide a bit in this Bearcats charge in the second half.
Rose way off, but another offensive rebound for ECU. Milton takes it away. She pushes forward. Levy. Rebound for Johnson.
Levy still without any points in this one for Cincinnati, now 0 for 5 from the field. And we talked about how she's been picking things up the last several games, but you can tell that midseason injury, she's just not quite 100% at the level she was earlier this season. Still getting back, getting better, closer every game, but it's tough to deal with those midseason injuries like that. Even if you're feeling healthy enough to compete, just finding that rhythm, finding your flow can be difficult.
Johnson did secure the rebound for ECU, but a foul off the ball against Tiara Chambers. So Cincinnati shooting free throws here. And Jaden Scott rattles them both in.
And one thing we mentioned in our open to the broadcast, Akira Levy, even when she isn't scoring points, she impacts the game in so many ways for Cincinnati. That's why she's still such an important player for them.
Out of bounds off a foot, stays ECU basketball. Levy scored 15 against the Bulls down in Florida on Wednesday. Before that, she hadn't scored in double figures in 4 games. Was nursing an injury that she sustained against UCF earlier this season on a loose ball dive. That really hindered her for a while. She missed a game as a result. Lob inside to Chambers. Misses the layup, but fouled.
Both teams doing a better job of getting that ball inside and not just going around the perimeter and forcing a shot at the end of the shot clock that we saw from both early in this game. As the post presence has really come on for both teams.
First foul on Braylon Milton, and just the 3rd on the Bearcats as a team. Tiara Chambers from Portsmouth, Virginia, 6'3" senior. Struggled at the offensive end over the last dozen games, just more than a point per game. But she has 2 today. 3, I beg your pardon.
Good job by Scott, reeling that one back in.
Levy, fancy to the hoop, but misses inside. Wilson alone for 3 again. Battle for it under the basket, off of Milton, and out of bounds. ECU playing a dangerous game, leaving Caitlin Wilson that alone for 3. But they catch a break there.
Saw her knock down a wide open one earlier, and as we said, if you leave Caitlin Wilson open, she's usually going to make you pay.
She's 2 of 8 from long range today. Under a minute to go, first half. Scramble in the corner here, and a wide open look for Sienna Josephs. A scramble play leads to an easy bucket.
There's that post play again from ECU. It's really led them in this second quarter.
Jaden Scott alone under the basket again, but better recovery from the Pirates.
Anytime you make a long pass against this ECU team, you're kind of flirting with disaster. They've got so much length, they anticipate those passing lanes well, and they close in a hurry.
I think they want you to throw the long pass.
They kind of lull you into making it. There's another block inside. You know, they kind of lay back a little bit. You have that sense of confidence. Oh, I can make that pass, and you make it, and that's when they spring for it.
Another one there. Mashara tries to skip it. Thompson gets her hands in the lane. Mashara inside, has it taken away by Josephs. Mashara takes it back, forces the tie-up, but ECU possession arrow. Well, the Pirates can hold for the final shot if they wish. 17 seconds to go in the second quarter.
Well, after that initial Cincinnati surge in this second quarter, ECU actually outscoring them 20-18 in the second frame.
It's a 14-point Pirate lead, a chance to extend it going into the locker rooms. Thompson bounces it inside to Rose, and she gets the roll. Cincinnati without any time left. Milton's heave will not count, but she banks it in. What a time you would have liked to have that shot go in, but it will not count. What a heave from Milton, but no basket. The timer had already gone off. Cincinnati could have used it. They trail ECU by 16 in Fifth Third Arena.
That 2-game win streak a little over a week ago. Cincinnati owns the only victory against UCF from anybody in the American Athletic Conference. If they're putting it all together, both of these teams could be 2 teams that you really don't want to see in that conference tournament, particularly the way they play defense.
Yeah, ECU tenacious on the defensive end. For Cincinnati, all it takes is a hot shooting game from Caitlin Wilson or Akira Levy, whoever it might be. Speaking of Levy, they got to get her going. She's 0 of 6 from the field and still hasn't scored a point in that first half.
I don't expect to see that stay that way long. I think that's probably an emphasis of the Cincinnati coaching staff as we open up this second half, and I think you're going to see the Bearcats coming out fired up.
It's Bearcats basketball to open up the second half. One-touch passing, Jaden Scott all alone, and a good start for Cincinnati.
There you see it, tic-tac-toe, pass to pass to pass, leading to a quick and easy basket underneath. That's when Cincinnati was at its best in the first half, when they were navigating that pressure and firing off those quick passes.
That's one way to break the pressure. ECU's first look on the offensive end goes out of bounds. Looking inside for Bennett.
Well, if you're Cincinnati, that's exactly how you wanted to open up this second half. A quality offensive possession leading to a layup and a forced turnover on the defensive side.
Milton finds a spot to break the pressure.
Breaking that pressure has been so key for Cincinnati. Those 15 turnovers really loom large in the first half when they're able to avoid them.
Hayes cuts to the rim and swatted away by Johnson. We've seen a couple of nice blocks in this game. Tiana Thompson has 11 points to lead all scorers for ECU. Caitlin Wilson, Cincinnati's leader, with 7 points today. We get a timeout on the floor. Just a handful of seconds into this third quarter. ECU up by 14.
Got off to a slow start today, but really picked things up toward the tail end of that first half, and this is what has been leading ECU into that 2-game win streak a little over a week ago.
Sanaya Thompson has been a nice Robin to the Batman. Tanaya Thompson today.
They have been a dynamic duo.
8 points today for Johnson to go with Thompson's 11. More hands in the passing lane. This time Thompson getting a fingertip on it. And to think that ECU is still this good defensively without LaShonda Monk. Get another shot clock violation here. Monk, we saw her in Cincinnati earlier this season, now a transfer at Ole Miss. The Bearcats took the Rebels down to the wire here in Fifth Third Arena. But she's now at Ole Miss, two-time Defensive Player of the Year in the American, consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards. And ECU still getting this many hands in passing lanes.
Yeah, without question, LaShonda Monk, one of the best defensive players in the nation the last few years. And it feels like this ECU defense really hasn't missed much of a beat in her absence.
Foul here goes against Hayes. Second on Hayes, first on the team. And Thompson shoots a couple. It's been a big adjustment in a positive way for Thompson this season, going inside a little bit more. Part of the reason why she's second in the conference in scoring. Worked really hard with Corey McNeil, one of the assistant coaches for ECU, at getting inside a little bit more, and that leads to getting fouls and earning more free throws and getting easy ways to score the basketball. Wilson is fouled on her drive.
Well, we know what Caitlin Wilson can do from outside, and teams really double down on her or really extend that defense to prevent the shooting. Sometimes she can grab as well, but there's her bread and butter right there on another made three.
Wilson now into double figures, the first Bearcat to get there. She has 10.
That's how Cincinnati's going to find its way back into this one.
Wilson guards Thompson on the defensive end. Tough assignment there. Now Green with 12 to shoot, transfer from Virginia Tech. Johnson skips through the lane, an offensive foul called. Off the ball against ECU.
Well, Caitlin Wilson, when she heats up, that opens up everything else for this Cincinnati offense. And part of that, too, is Akira Levy. She's going to command a lot of attention from the defensive side. That opened up that shot for Wilson. So give a call to Levy for setting it up. And that's what she does. Even when she isn't scoring, she's such a great facilitator.
Levy's second in the conference in assists per game. Might have another one here to Jaden Scott, up and in for 2.
There it is, assist number 5 for Akira Levy today.
Scott plays well against the Pirates, had 11 points last year against ECU, and she has 11 today. Green silences the Cincinnati crowd for a moment.
Big response by Green right there as Cincinnati had opened up with a 7-2 run at a halftime.
So many times Cincinnati puts itself in a hole and they work their way back, trying to do so again against the Pirates today. Levy looking for her first point, still can't get it. Hayes skies for the offensive rebound. Takes a tumble on the way down, no foul, and she's out of bounds.
That's rebound number 5 from Hayes. She's been a force inside for Cincinnati today. Hasn't really been able to get the scoring going. Hayes only 2 points, Levy no points. It's been Jaden Scott and Caitlin Wilson in double figures for the Bearcats, kind of leading the way on the offensive side.
Yeah, we've talked about Levy struggling offensively, not as much about Hayes. Green starting to heat up for ECU, 9 points now for the graduate student.
She's starting to feel her shot here in this second half, knocking on the door of double figures.
Green played 1 year at Virginia Tech, started her career at Wofford, a 2-time All-Southern Conference selection. No-look pass inside to Hayes, right back to Levy. Passes up the 3 to find Wilson. Another push here. Green dribbles it off of Levy's foot and into the hands of Braylon Milton. Milton finds Hayes cutting to the rim, and she misses right at the rim. Just that kind of day for Jillian Hayes.
Bearcats couldn't finish it off, but that was a really nice pass for Braylon Milton to find Hayes cutting down the lane.
Green rims out that time. Knocked out of bounds, back to Cincinnati.
Well, you said it, Anthony, just kind of one of those days for Cincinnati. Even when you get a nice play like that, you just don't get the bounce to go your way.
And when they do get the bounces to go their way, like Milton at halftime, the shot clock is already off.
Just kind of emblematic of the kind of afternoon it's been for Cincinnati.
Hayes passes down low to Niang off the window.
But that's when the Bearcats have found their success today. Great passes, setting up open shots, particularly down low. We've seen some great post-to-post passing from the Bearcats.
Bearcats are back within 13. Mosley has it knocked away by Milton.
Now it's Cincinnati starting to force all those turnovers. Similar to what we saw from ECU at the beginning of this game.
12 ECU turnovers now, 17 for Cincinnati. Hayes hangs in the air and can't finish. Knocked out of bounds. And a foul called as well. It goes against Tiara Chambers for the Pirates.
Well, you mentioned the turnover margin down to just 5. It was a lot more than that earlier in this game, with ECU having a significant advantage in that turnovers column. Cincinnati's been able to battle their way back in that respect.
Pirates lead the conference in turnover margin. Levy zips a pass inside. Niang struggles with it at first. Steps through the double and fouled.
We've seen that in the minutes from Niang in this one. She's been aggressive inside. She's been able to draw some fouls. And that basket moments ago, and that might be a key to Cincinnati getting something going in this second half.
That foul goes against Josephs. Her first. And 2 at the line for Aram Niang. Niang, a fantastic free throw shooter. A lot of times those post players really struggle at the line, but Niang is an exception to that. 81% from the charity stripe, and I jinxed her.
Now Cincinnati now 7 for 8 from the line today. It has been a strength of the Bearcats.
Thompson is blocked by Niang. Hayes there as well. 2 of the best post players for Cincinnati, rising in 1971. They were known as the Lady Bearcats until 1990, and here's just a partial list of some of the most accomplished Cincinnati women's basketball players. Lori Pirtle, the most wins in Cincinnati women's basketball history. Cheryl Cook down at the bottom there, the Cincinnati leader in points all time, a Hall of Fame inductee in 1995, and the only player to have her jersey retired here in Cincinnati's Fifth Third Arena.
Really special day here for the Bearcats at Fifth Third Arena, honoring all the legends and history of this program through the years.
And again, that is just a partial list. We could go on and on about all the accomplished Cincinnati women's basketball players. Lori Pirtle took the Bearcats to the first NCAA tournament in program history.
Those runs in the postseason back in the early 2000s, Sweet 16 run for the Bearcats.
So many accomplished Bearcats and so many trying to etch their name into the program's history, both this season and beyond. Another jumper for Jillian Hayes, homegrown product from Loveland, as the Bearcats back within 10.
Suddenly it's a 10-point game. Cincinnati has found something in this second half.
Green with a step back.
Now she's found something too, and that mid-range jumper has been her bread and butter.
Such a smooth player. I've seen that all afternoon. Milton, a hard drive through traffic, and foul called.
That's when Cincinnati has been at its best on the offensive end, attacking the basket, either getting those dump-off passes underneath the uncontested layups or drawing the fouls. That's how we've seen a majority of these points coming in the second half.
It's another foul on Chambers, her third. Milton with a pair of points today. Her first points in 4 games.
Now we've seen what happens when she heats up. And that great game against Ole Miss earlier this year, on the road at Chattanooga. Very bright future for the freshman, but can't connect on either one of those.
She emerged as a distributor a bit as this season has gone along. Those big outbursts of scoring, as you mentioned, against Ole Miss and Chattanooga, but took on a facilitator role as the season progressed. A nice drive inside there for ECU, and Thompson has extended the lead to 14 again. Hayes goes to work. Drive on Josephs and the foul.
There's that aggressive take inside again from Cincinnati. That's what the Bearcats need to do. They need to get it into their post players' hands inside. They need to attack the basket. Get those shots down low, draw those fouls. And that might get Jillian Hayes going in this second half.
Points 5 and 6 for Hayes.
Well, Anthony, last week the Bearcats had a chance to play Tulane down in New Orleans, and they were able to connect with Jillian Hayes' older brother Jackson.
Yes.
Plays for the New Orleans Pelicans. Also, former Cincinnati men's basketball standout Gary Clark was down there as well, as they were both in attendance cheering on Cincinnati and New Orleans.
Hard push here from Johnson, a foul called against Niang. I saw some of the Cincinnati staff making the trip, was able to go to a Pelicans game as well. Hope they got some beignets along the way while they were down there.
Always a must-do when you're in the Big Easy.
I don't think I could play in New Orleans. I think I'd gain 10 or 15 pounds just in the first couple weeks.
Easy to do. I think I do that in just a weekend down there.
What is it, Cafe Du Monde down there, right?
That's the spot.
Johnson with 2 free throws. She's been a nice sidekick for Tania Thompson today. Hayes helps the Bearcats get it across half court. Pressure starting to pick up again for ECU. Levy tried to drag that foot, and she's called for the travel.
That's just what this ECU defense does to you, that kind of second of hesitation. You're always kind of waiting, where's that pressure going to come from at any instant? And it kind of will cause you to commit some extra turnovers on your own, even when it isn't a steal setting it up.
Green nifty dribbling. Hayes takes her pass away.
Cincinnati has been forcing more and more turnovers themselves as this game has gone along. That's number 13 from ECU.
Niang goes to work on Mosley. A tough drive. Can't get the bounce. Tipped out of bounds back to Cincinnati. ECU, I beg your pardon.
Cincinnati just has to keep working it down low, let Hayes do work, let Niang do work. That's what's brought them somewhat back into this in the second half.
You know, Matt, started to make me think, started talking about food there a minute ago. The American, some of these places have great food options.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Cincinnati, you got the chili. Tulane, you got the beignets and all the French food. How about Memphis, all the barbecue?
Get some cheesesteaks over at Temple in Philly.
There you go.
I've always told everybody, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better conference to travel and eat than the American.
And then Florida, you get the weather.
That never hurts.
Sometimes the weather is just as good as a nice meal.
Get some great Mexican food down in Houston.
Offensive rebound, Jada Scott tries to throw it outside, and it's nearly taken away. It'll stay with Cincinnati.
Great barbecue out in Wichita as well. Same with Tulsa. A lot of great food around the American.
SMU, you're probably getting more of the Hispanic, Mexican food as well. I wonder what ECU has. Barbecue probably as well.
A lot of great barbecue in Carolina, and you've got the Eastern style and the Western style down there.
I think we've touched on all of them, right?
I think we've knocked them all out.
Yeah.
No, you definitely can't overlook the Carolina barbecue. Lexington barbecue, not really in the ECU region of the state, but very famous down there.
I went down to Wake Forest a couple of years ago. Fantastic barbecue. Thompson has the Wilson miss. Bad time to be calling this game. 2 o'clock start. Now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Well, both of these teams hungry for a win as they try to climb their way up the conference standings. Tied for last in the conference as it stands right now with a 3-9 record for each of these teams. Cincinnati has lost 4 in a row. ECU lost its first game in 3 tries on Wednesday night against Houston.
Really tough losses for both teams. That Houston loss for ECU, the USF loss for Cincinnati when they led most of the game. Both could really have a significantly better record than it currently shows if just a couple bounces would go their way throughout the season.
A big-time swat inside leads to a Jada Scott lay-in. Well, Bennett was a bit disappointed to not get a call on the defensive end, and I can't blame her. She was hacked pretty well on the block, but it leads to a Cincinnati layup.
Both teams continuing to really push that intensity on the defensive side. Kira Levy coming back to the Cincinnati bench, getting some well wishes from Michelle Clark-Hurd and some instruction of what they want to do here for the final stretch coming up as we're in the final minute of quarter number 3.
11-point lead for ECU. Thompson makes her move. Foul through the lane.
Both teams really attacking the basket and getting to the line here in this second half.
It was a big focus for Thompson. We mentioned earlier her work with Corey McNeil at getting to the line more, getting to the rim. Coaching staff always knew she was more of a 2-level scorer from the outside and then that pull-up mid-range game, but has really emerged as a 3-level scorer in now her junior season, working to get into the lane more, draw more fouls around the rim. Kim McNeil says it's a testament to her maturity on the mental side of the game.
Well, Cincinnati can get the basket here and hold ECU. That certainly would do a lot for their momentum heading into the 4th.
10 seconds left to shoot for Milton. She has it blocked. And a foul called as well. After the block, a scramble for the loose ball. Milton picks up a foul.
That'll be her second of the game, and another good defensive possession from ECU. I'll have a chance to hold for the final shot here in quarter number 3.
Mosley stepped in to draw that foul against Milton. ECU will hold for the final possession in all likelihood. Thompson, a nasty crossover, explodes to the rim, everything but the finish. A bit too open there maybe for Thompson.
Yeah, she's used to working hard for her baskets, really attacking, and might have shocked her a little bit. Cincinnati now with a chance for the final shot, as ECU's going to put some full court pressure on to try to force them to run as much clock as possible.
Looks like Thompson was bracing for contact and it never came. Bearcats have 2 left in the quarter. Hayes at the buzzer, it goes.
What a play by Hayes. She was able to navigate out of that backcourt pressure.
Leads everybody with 16 points. And those 8 rebounds are a pretty impressive mark as well, but 80% from the floor for Jaden Scott.
Yeah, Scott has really been picking up her game as of late. We've come to expect it from Tania Thompson, the reigning American Athletic Conference Player of the Week, but Jaden Scott, along with her sister Jada, have been kind of the standouts for Cincinnati the last few weeks. They've played their way into the starting lineup and have been able to give the Bearcats some some good effort on the offensive side when they've had some lulls from the likes of Jillian Hayes, Akira Levy, and others. And the Scots have been dependable for the Bearcats. They're back within 10.
Scott is just 2 points off her career high, she said earlier this season against Houston. Thompson is in double figures for the 17th game in a row.
Cincinnati coming out in the fourth quarter in a 2-3 zone.
Green rims out. Wilson crashes the glass and ties up Bennett. Bearcats basketball.
Now we've seen Green shooting it hot on those mid-range shots right there, but that's what that Cincinnati zone wanted to do. Force the three, get the rebounds, and they can make it a single-digit game here.
Milton. Hayes wanted it inside, pass deflected out of bounds. 7 to shoot for Cincinnati after the inbound.
Now this is something we've seen a lot today, the deep shot clock. Saw a lot of it at the start of this game. Cincinnati gonna have to cook something up in a hurry.
Maybe struggling to find anybody. Long pass to Wilson, and Matt Noonan with a nice deflection over here. You should play for ECU with those hands.
I'm not protecting the rim, I'm protecting it in the TV monitor here.
Only 1 second ticks off. Little flick of the wrist there.
Just keep the TV safe. That's what they taught me.
Wilson steps in for 3. Had to shoot it. Foot on the gas for Green, and she peels out. Levy hounds her. Green kicks it out. Now Rose. Bennett, long 2, too short.
Well, a couple of stops from Cincinnati to start this half.
Bearcats using Hayes at the free throw line a bit more as this game has gone along. One of the many adjustments Michelle Clark-Hurd has made. Hayes fouled this time with 8:40 to go in the game.
Utilizing that versatility of Hayes. She's been the point guard for this team in the past when injuries have forced the change in lineups, but she can play anywhere on the floor. And when you got Malaya Williams inside, you can move Hayes out, and she shows off that versatility right there. It's a single-digit game, Anthony.
She goes inside to bank it in. And as Matt mentioned, it's an 8-point deficit for Cincinnati. Make it 10 again with Alexia Rose getting to the rim.
Oh, that's what we've seen all day. It feels like every time Cincinnati gets momentum, ECU has the answer.
Milton steps into a 3, too strong, gets it right back. And off of Hayes, out of bounds.
Michelle Clark-Hurd firing up her team from the bench, saying, let's get another good defensive possession.
Green, the step back, rattles out. Foul on the floor on the rebound. Braylon Milton and Morgan Mosley tied up, and Milton grabbing her face is slow to get up.
Yeah, it looked like they just got tangled up there, weren't even really aware of each other being there. Got together, and Cincinnati going to send a trainer out. The
foul goes against Braylon Milton. So adding insult to injury there, literally and figuratively. Milton gets hurt, has to leave the game, and the foul goes against her. She'll get checked out by the trainers in the tunnel towards the locker room. Cincinnati takes away the inbounds pass, so a good start after that Braylon Milton injury.
Tell you what, Jillian Hayes has really stepped up in this second half. She's making big play after big play, trying to will Cincinnati back into this. See that stat line right there, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists.
Goes to work inside, gets the bounce.
Adds 2 more, and it's back to a single-digit game again. Bearcats putting this game in Hayes' hands, and she's delivering.
In these moments that ECU has always seemed to have the answer this afternoon. A lot of it's because of Deja Green with the basketball right now. She has 11, and she's made some big shots. Offensive foul, however, called against Tyler Bennett.
Good job there on the defensive side by Aram Yang, getting into position, staying in position. And that led to the foul on Bennett. That's number 4 on her. And she's going to have to take a seat on the ECU bench with those 4 fouls.
A couple of the post players getting in some foul trouble.
And you see just a little push off there with the right arm. Good defense by Aram Yang, staying in position. And Bearcats within 8. This is as close as they have been in a long time.
So Chambers replaces Bennett. Tiara Chambers has 3 fouls. Bennett with 4 on the bench.
Those fouls starting to add up for ECU a bit.
Wilson catch and shoot 3. Follows her miss, tapped around. Niang saves it to Williams, and the bounce goes.
What an effort by Aram Niang, saving that one in bounds. It happened to go right to Williams. The Cincinnati run continues. It's a 6-point game.
Basketball back in Green's hands for ECU.
Well, Anthony, it wouldn't be the first time Cincinnati is able to come back from a big deficit this season. They were down 19 to Tulsa at the end of January and came back to win it.
A bump on Rose by Levy, and that bails out ECU. They were getting deep into the shot clock. They get a fresh 20 now. That was the last win, Matt. You mentioned the win against Tulsa. They were down 19. Came all the way back in the second half. That last win came on January 29th for Cincinnati. Levy collects the Green miss.
What a great job by Levy running that one down. She had to cover some distance.
Rose tries to tie her up, and she does. And a foul against Alexia Rose.
That's already foul number 3 on ECU as Cincinnati gets closer and closer to that bonus situation.
Feels like deja vu all over again with this Cincinnati team, falling in a big hole early and chipping and clawing their way back in. Out to Williams, and another handsy foul, this time against Zania Johnson.
So that is team foul number 4 on ECU, so the Bearcats will be in a bonus situation from here on out. Every foul will result in free throws.
5:56 to go in the 4th quarter. Niang, the floater, yes!
Niang has really found her rhythm in this second half, and here comes the crowd. Timeout ECU, and this place is coming alive, Anthony. Well, she and Jillian Hayes have taken over this game, bringing the Bearcats back to within 4. Some great shooting from Caitlin Wilson as well.
13 points for Hayes, an all-around effort with 5 rebounds and 6 assists. Wilson in double figures with 10. Jaden Scott also in double figures for Cincinnati. So a 3-headed monster today for the Bearcats. ECU also has 3 members of its squad in double figures.
And you see Akira Levy right there. She has 0 points today, but continues to find ways to impact this game. Deflections like that, and she also has 9 assists coming up on double figures.
ECU needs a response. Go inside, right back out to Rose. She doesn't know how much time's on the shot clock. It's expired. Rose with a lack of shot clock awareness.
Scoring drought over 3 minutes now for ECU, and you can feel this crowd really starting to have an effect on this game. The momentum tilting into Cincinnati's favor, and that's a play right there that it really aids you with ECU not aware of the shot clock situation.
One thing to keep in mind too, Kim McNeil just called the timeout. She's down to just 1. Shot clock Hurd has 4 left. A bump foul up top against Isis Adams. And Cincinnati shooting free throws the rest of this game.
Aram Niang headed to the line. If you're Cincinnati, that's a player you want to see at the foul stripe. And you can just feel the momentum shifting in this building the last 5 minutes. And Cincinnati on that same kind of wave they were against Tulsa in that big comeback win they had earlier this year.
Niang, an 81% free throw shooter, knocks them both down.
It's a 2-point game, Anthony. ECU needs a basket in the worst way, a scoring drought of over 3.5 minutes.
Adams throws it away for a moment, gets it right back. And a stoppage, the shot clock reset, and the officials say it should not have reset. Cincinnati did not have enough possession to warrant a reset.
Yeah, when you look at it again right there, Levy kind of tipped it away but never really gained full possession herself.
Good awareness there by the officiating crew. 10 seconds to shoot for ECU. Green dribble handoff to Mosley. Players go flying, and it's an offensive foul under the hoop.
And what an impact Akira Levy is making this game in spite of having 0 points. We mentioned 9 assists. She's getting deflections on the defensive end. She's drawing offensive fouls against the opposition. And that's what makes Akira Levy such a great player. Even when she's having an off day shooting the basketball, just brings that intensity, brings that fire, gets everybody else involved. And that's why she's such an important player for Cincinnati.
That foul goes against Bennett, and she is done. Just fouled out for ECU. Wilson alone in the corner. Working to collect her miss, but she commits the foul instead.
That would have given Cincinnati its first lead of the game. They have never been ahead in this one and have trailed by as many as 17.
Would have blown the roof off in this place.
Big crowd here today celebrating the 50th anniversary of this team. And they have really powered on the Bearcats in this second half. We've always seen the Pirates come up with an answer.
Thompson has it this time. She had gone quiet over the last couple minutes as ECU has gone quiet. That's their first bucket in 3 minutes and 57 seconds.
They needed that in the worst way.
Back up to 4. Levy looking for her first points, and still a lid on the basket for the point guard.
Over 8 for Akira Levy. This will be a foul against Cincinnati.
Goes against Malaya Williams.
This team foul number 4 against Cincinnati, so both teams now in a bonus situation for the remainder of this game. It has been defense. We've talked about how great these ECU teams have been generating steals, blocks the last couple years. That was paramount when she was at Hartford as well.
The defense has gone by the wayside a little bit here as this game has gone along for ECU. They forced 9 Cincinnati turnovers in the first quarter. The Bearcats have only turned it over 11 times in 2+ quarters since. Johnson drives inside, blocked from behind. Hayes gets another hand on it.
That's block number 3 from Jillian Hayes today. She's done such a great job switching off, whether it's been back in transition or making that read right there, coming off of the player she's defending to get that help defense. Great defensive performance from her today.
ECU keeps it out to Mosley, 5 to shoot. Dribble handoff, Green shoots over Levy, and airballs, another shot clock violation.
Another full defensive possession from one of these teams. Both have forced shot clock violations today. Cincinnati the latest on the defensive end.
Levy zips a pass to Niang, and fortunate the Bearcats hold possession. And then they turn it over. Turnover 21 for Cincinnati today. Green is so calm, cool, and collected with the ball in her hands. Finds Thompson. Johnson has the rebound.
We mentioned early in the game how Johnson had all those key plays for the Pirates early on. That's one of them right there.
Inside to Mosley, and a bump foul against Hayes. It's her third, and it sends Johnson to the line. Both teams over the limit.
You mentioned, Anthony, how foul shooting could be a big factor down the stretch here. ECU dead last in the American in foul shooting this year, shooting 65% today. But a big opportunity to try to get some points at the line and hang on to this lead.
Mosley is 0 for 3. Just a 41% free throw shooter this season, makes her first here.
Now couldn't ask for a better time to make her first foul shot of the day.
Mosley scored a career-high 11 points against Cincinnati earlier this season and makes 2 clutch free throws here in this one. Green takes away a pass again for ECU.
ECU hasn't been forcing as many turnovers in the second half as they did in the first, but that's what we've seen when they've been clicking along on the defensive end. And full court pressure coming into play.
Green has been all motor, non-stop all day on both ends. Contested shot inside leads to another Cincinnati foul. Thompson going back to the line, one of the few exceptions on this ECU team that shoots well from the line.
She'll have 2 big ones coming up here, and looks like a 30-second timeout taken. That'll rather be a full timeout.
Bearcats trying to snap a 4-game losing skid. And ECU trying to win 3 of its last 4.
Pirates have really been finding their stride here the last few weeks. Tough loss against Houston, otherwise they could keep that win streak going even further.
This would be big for ECU as well. They play their next 2 games at home. It could provide a little momentum going into the end of the season for the Pirates. A win today on the road, and then 2 at home. Couple at the line for Tanaya Thompson.
Continuing her streak of scoring at least 20 points per game the last several times out.
5 games in a row now, 20 or more for Thompson. Williams shoots over the smaller defender and connects. Nice answer there for Malaya Williams. She's come alive a little bit at the end of this game.
Well, ECU has hit that magic 60-point mark, so it's on to Cincinnati here to try to find some offense if they want to end that trend, but Pirates always tough when they hit that 60-point mark.
And the ball is always finding its way into the hands of Deja Green.
She has been fantastic in this second half.
Here's Johnson.
I feel a deliberate pace from the ECU offense here.
5 to go. Green fakes it, rims out.
And they're able to burn 30 seconds off the clock. Got a good look, just couldn't finish.
Cincinnati has to play smart. Spoke a little too soon. They launch it into the first row of seats.
That was the pass they wanted. Looking for Caitlin Wilson in that corner. That's the shot she likes. Just a little bit too much on that one for Merab Niang. Pirates are only 1 of their last 7. They're going to probably be looking to bleed some clock here as well.
All in the hands of Thompson, double teamed. Niang peels off, now Green. Green makes her move. Thompson fakes the shot and has her second blocked, but a whistle late.
And that's tough if you're Cincinnati. Running all 30 seconds off the shot clock with a foul right at the end. If you're ECU, that's exactly what you're looking for. And beyond that, you got Tanaya Thompson heading to the line, exactly the player you want with the ball in her hands.
They'll take a look at this, presumably whether it's a 2 or a 3. The original call was a 2. They're going to take a look. 5th straight game now for Tanaya Thompson with 20 or more points. That ties a school record. She has been on an absolute tear as conference play has started to come down to a close. And
it's no surprise that as Thompson has really hit her stride, so have the Pirates. 2-1 in the last 3 games. Could have defeated Houston.
Just looking to make sure that the foul happened, the contact happened before the shot clock went off, okay?
They're checking to see whether the contact happened before or after the shot clock went off. If it happened after, it won't be a foul. If it happened before, it'll be a couple free throws for ECU.
And that's a big development with Thompson heading to the line. She's a dependable free throw shooter for ECU. That could extend it You know, you always talk about late in basketball games going from a 6-point lead to a 7-point lead and how big that is, effectively making it a 3-possession game. If you're ECU, you like your...
If that's the case, it'll be a couple free throws for Thompson.
Looks like that's what they're signaling.
The officials do have some better angles than we do.
My initial thought seeing it live was that the shot did get off in time before that shot clock expired. And it looks like that is what our officials have arrived at as well.
There's those stats up to this point. Cincinnati out rebounding ECU, but of course the most important column is the scoring. ECU up by 6.
Some big free throws here from Thompson. And we talked about it, getting that lead to the 7-point mark. That's what Thompson does on her first. It's now a 3-possession game in the final minute.
Thompson is 9 of 10 at the line today. Big time free throws, 20-plus point range again.
You know, our two players we talked about opening the broadcast were Tanaya Thompson and Akira Levy. Levy, no points for Cincinnati, but she does have 9 assists. Has had a lot of big defensive plays as well. That's why they're both such great players.
Yang steps through and she's fouled.
The great players find ways to impact games even when they're not making their shots from the field. Thompson getting to the foul line. Akira Levy setting up her teammates, getting defensive plays. That's what sets apart the great players from just the good players.
From Cincinnati's perspective, down by 8. Levy, you mentioned, with the 9 assists, a couple of steals as well. But another one of those what ifs. What if she just had 3? What if she had 4 points? You're looking at a much different end to this game right now. Yang helps out the cause, makes both free throws, back to 6. Green is fouled on the inbounds.
And you got to give a big shout out to Green in the second half with her play. It feels like every time ECU has needed a momentum basket, she's been there, whether it's been to answer a run from Cincinnati, whether it's just to grind out a tough basket at the end of a shot clock. She doesn't have as many points as Thompson, but it almost feels like her points have come at extremely important points in this game.
Green shoots 72% from the line. And they're making them when they matter.
That's a big one right there.
A couple for Green. And another Cincinnati time. Both teams looking to make their move with a couple games remaining. Williams, high arcing 3 is too short. I don't necessarily know if that's the shot they wanted.
Well, if you're Cincinnati, you really don't have the luxury of waiting around to set up the perfect shot when you're down 3 possessions. We've seen Williams make those, but just tough when you're in this situation. You got to find that shot as quick as you can.
It's good defending by ECU to get a couple hands in Williams' face. Now they get a leak out. Thompson, Johnson, and 1.
Well, another play showing why Thompson is so good. It's not just scoring. She had a path to the basket. She knew Jillian Hayes was there. Made the dump off to her teammate. Picture perfect for the Pirates.
That could be the nail in the coffin. Cincinnati out of timeouts, back up to double figures.
And we noted how Johnson was really the steadying force for ECU, and she finds her own rebound here, 1-on-4.
Just that kind of day for Cincinnati.
And that's what Johnson really has done all game. When Thompson was a little bit cold at the start of this game, it was Johnson leading the Pirates, and that play just kind of encapsulates the kind of game she's had.
Deja Green will shoot another couple of free throws. This one pretty much all but over. Cincinnati electing not to foul on that defensive possession. Chance to add to the stat sheet today for Deja Green. Been a big reason why ECU has held on in this game. Such a steadying presence with the ball in her hands, has made some tough step back shots.
Can't discount her 4 steals as well, a team high today.
Well, Cincinnati, a valiant effort to come back in this game, but they dug themselves a deep hole and couldn't quite come out of it. Williams, the last shot of the game, will not go. And ECU comes on the road to beat Cincinnati by